Now at 5, calls for justice after this alleged racially motivated attack in Monroe County. We are live with the demands some people in Bloomington are making tonight.
The plan to open the state's biggest public school system in a safe and healthy manner. The plan is just out. I'm Rafael Sanchez. Details coming up on RTV6.
So it's more of a why now thing. I think that was what was so upsetting is I grew up in a Lutheran church and that was just not what you're taught.
More questions tonight regarding the firing of a coach and athletic trainer from a Christian school, all because she is gay after she had worked there for 5 years.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Now at 5, the ongoing push for justice in Monroe County. It's been almost a week since a black man was allegedly attacked by a group of white men. The incident caught on video near Lake Monroe.
RTV6's Cameron Riddle is live in Bloomington tonight, where the man seen in that video and others are calling for an end to delayed justice. Cameron, what's it looking like there tonight?
Mark and Amanda, good evening. This is night 3 of protests this week here in Bloomington. We were here on Monday and Tuesday. All of this because almost a week ago, Vox Booker was at Lake Monroe when he was allegedly attacked by several men in the woods. The video was all the incident was all caught on video. And since then, there have been no arrests in that apparent attack that happened on the 4th of July weekend. With that said, that has fueled the community to come out and support Booker, who is also a community leader. He is on the board of the Human Rights Commission for Monroe County, and people want justice for him. With that said, tonight there will be protests starting at 6 o'clock here at the People's Park in Bloomington. We are expecting to hear from Vox Booker himself as well as his attorney coming up in the next hour here at this protest at this location, where the press conference will begin and then eventually turn into that protest beginning tonight at 6 o'clock. We will keep you updated as well as show you live pictures on our Facebook page and on the RTV6 app. I'm Cameron Riddle. I'll be back here at 6 with another update. Reporting live in Bloomington, I'm Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
We'll see you next hour, Cameron. Thank you. Now to Democracy 2020. Indiana will have a new attorney general regardless of the outcome of the November election. This afternoon, the Indiana Republican Party announced their nominee is former Congressman and former Indiana Secretary of State Todd Rokita. Now, they chose Rokita over incumbent Curtis Hill after 3 rounds of voting. The total, Rokita 52.15% of the vote and Hill 47.85%. 2 other candidates were in the running. John Westerkamp and Nate Harder were dropped in the first and second rounds as they had the lowest totals. Hill has been under fire and refused calls to resign after he was accused of sexual misconduct against 4 women in 2018. Hill has repeatedly denied the allegations, and a special prosecutor declined to pursue criminal charges. However, the Indiana Supreme Court did suspend his law license for 30 days earlier this year. Rokita will now face Democrat Jonathan Weisenfeld in November. Weisenfeld is a former 2-term mayor of Evansville. According to the Libertarian Party of Indiana's website, they chose not to nominate a candidate for this race.
Changes are underway. How about that? A cold front has moved through. The last several days have been so stagnant, not much wind at all. That's a different story today. We've had gusts over 30 miles per hour. Those cumulus clouds are hanging out at about 3,700 feet above your head. Right now you see them. Tonight you won't. Any rain chance probably limited to, say, Hartford City, Winchester, Portland, over toward Richmond. The rest of central Indiana, we should be dry for the remainder of the evening. Temperatures warmest to the north and west. Lafayette above everyone else at 89, 86 in Terre Haute. Indy at 82 degrees. We did, by the way, snap our string of 90-degree days at 7 straight. There's that refreshing breeze out of the northwest at 16 miles per hour. This is the way we start your Saturday, with lots of sunshine, temperature up to about 80 by noon. What happens late afternoon into Saturday night? I'll talk about that coming up.
One of the state's largest public school systems is moving forward with its reopening plan. IPS starts classes August the 3rd with major changes in and outside its buildings. Working for you, Rafael Sanchez walks us through the details in this plan.
They're still working on classrooms, but when the school year begins, every student and every teacher must wear a mask. Students will be given one mask, and they'll get a mask break throughout the day. Interaction in the hallways will be restricted. Now, if you want a drink of water, the traditional water fountains will be sealed off, as you can see. Each student will receive a water bottle, and the district is installing touchless water fountains. The principal's office will be monitoring activities throughout the day. If a COVID-19 case is determined by the school, it will be reviewed on a case-by-case process. There will be no blanket policy to shut down a school. The goal on the school bus, one child per seat, and parents are being asked to check their child's temperature. It should not be higher than 100.4 degrees before getting on that bus or coming to school. The district will be encouraging kids to walk to school if they can. In fact, they're hiring some 18 crossing guards to serve 13 schools where high traffic may be a major concern, all to make sure kids get safely to school. As the sign says, the goal is to be safe and healthy this school year. In Indianapolis, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And IPS has also purchased 3,200 face shields for school staff and 200,000 disposable face masks for anyone who forgets their face covering at home. And all new at 6, the school system spells out their biggest challenge and who needs to help. Now, here are some key details for families who don't want to send their kids back to school. Beginning today through next Friday, July 17th, families can sign up for e-learning on the IPS website. The district is assigning about 14 teachers to support online learning for kids in grades K through 8, and the district is investing $9 million in iPads and Chromebooks for all of its students.
Another thing to consider for back to school athletics, and we've learned that a Fishers High School football player has tested positive for COVID-19. The school canceled its remaining practices this week. The team had been practicing in small groups according to IHSAA guidelines when a positive test was announced. A group of players who were in contact with the infected player will be quarantined for the next 14 days as a precaution. Hamilton County Schools issued a statement saying safety of its student athletes is a top priority. The school district says, quote, "We have advised families to monitor their athletes for any signs or symptoms of COVID-19 in the interim and to keep them home if they are having symptoms," end quote. Now let's get to today's numbers released by the state regarding coronavirus. A big jump in the number of people who have tested positive, 748, all from yesterday. That is the highest number of new cases in a single day in more than 2 months. That sent the statewide total over 50,000. The state is also reporting an additional 9 deaths that occurred between July 3rd and yesterday. The statewide total for deaths now stands at 2,555. Nationally, the U.S. has hit a grim record. More than 62,000 new cases of COVID-19 over the last 24 hours. Now the CDC predicts the number up to 160,000 Americans could die by August 1st. As experts warn, some hard-hit areas may need to reconsider their reopening plans. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest tonight.
The nation's top infectious disease expert out with a new warning for the country's hotspots, recommending they consider pausing their reopening plans.
Despite the guidelines and the recommendations to open up carefully and prudently, some states skipped over those and just opened up too quickly.
Florida was one of the first to roll back restrictions and now one of the hardest hit. The state topping 114,000 cases, more than 50 hospitals reporting 0 ICU beds available.
A number of contracted healthcare workers. We are moving some of them to the long-term care, COVID only, and we're also helping with personnel at some of the areas that are most busy.
Cases there, plus those in Arizona and South Carolina, growing faster than anywhere else in the world, according to the New York Times. Arizona with nearly 1 in 3 people testing positive. Numbers are even rising in some less populated rural areas. Healthcare workers at this hospital in Liberal, Kansas, say they're overwhelmed.
We're in the middle of nowhere here in Southwest Kansas. We didn't think that it would get to us, and it did take a long time, but when it finally did get to us, it hit us like a freight train.
Experts say religious gatherings are causing rapid spread. The New York Times reporting more than 650 coronavirus cases have been linked to nearly 40 churches and religious events across the country, including Oregon, Texas, and Tennessee.
Large gatherings indoors, including church services and other religious services, is really risky.
Back in March, just north of Seattle, more than 50 members of a community choir became infected with COVID-19 after rehearsal. 2 of them died. Some places of worship that reopened now closing again.
Knowing that if we had an in-person service, that it was likely to spread even further into our congregation, that's why we decided to go back online.
The governor of Ohio, who in May told ABC News a mask mandate was, quote, a bridge too far, has since made face coverings a requirement in 12 hard-hit counties and now also mandatory in religious institutions there. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Tonight, both current and former students are coming forward in support of a coach and athletic trainer who says she was fired from a Christian high school in Indianapolis for being gay. Our Nicole Griffin is talking with those students tonight, and many of them have the same question for leaders at Lutheran High School.
The big question that those students are now asking is why now? Crystal Brazel worked as an athletic trainer at Lutheran High School since 2015 and as a softball coach since 2017. They say it was never a secret that she was gay, so why is she being fired now?
It really did surprise me just for the fact that it wasn't like she just got hired there.
Kimberly Kier was a football manager at Lutheran High School. She also played basketball and softball before graduating in 2017. During that time, she got to know athletic trainer and softball coach Crystal Brazel. Brazel, who is engaged to get married to her fiancé Samantha next week, says she was fired from the school in February. It comes after she was asked to sign, stating she could follow a handbook that she says states homosexuality is a sin.
It was really hurtful as a past student and a past athlete, because the first thing that went to my head was nobody else is going to be able to experience her as an AT. And as someone who is a Christian and is a Lutheran, it's like we're supposed to be inclusive. It's not supposed to be a gate to keep you out. It's supposed to be a bridge to bring you over.
Dante Atkins played football at Lutheran High School and says Brazel was always there for him, helping him recover from several injuries. He believes the decision to fire her is not one that came directly from school leaders.
It puts them in a bind, and I feel like if it was actually the school's decision, it could have been handled a different way. But since it was ran through the church and everything, like it was either one way or another, and they really didn't have a whole lot of say on how that would go. It definitely saddens me to know that she's not able to be there, especially with the kids that she's been there with for years.
The head of Lutheran High School has released a statement to RTV6 saying in part that the school's mission is to prepare young adults to lead a Christian life in a Christ-centered environment, and the school needs leaders to be committed to these values. Working for you, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
And tonight we have followed back up with the head of the school to ask why Brazel was fired after working for several years as a coach and athletic trainer. In response, he said, please refer back to the statement yesterday. Now you can find that statement on the RTV6 app and on the IndyChannel.com. Brazel says she thinks someone new came to the school and complained.
The smell of nitro and the sound of horsepower. It's a return to racing for the NHRA this weekend here in Indy. I'm Brad Brown at Lucas Oil Raceway. We'll give you a preview of what's ahead coming up.
And you've heard us share the story of the leaning tree in Johnson County and how it's facing an uncertain future. Coming up at 5:30, we now know its fate.
And the rain threat is ending this evening, pushing into Ohio. So what's arriving for the weekend? I've got all the details straight ahead.
Keller and Keller, right now.
Last weekend, we saw IndyCar and NASCAR get back on the track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Another major racing series is returning to action this weekend, and they're just up the road a few miles from IMS. Brad Brown has a look at drag racing's top series going fast again.
It's been roughly 4 months since the NHRA season was shut down due to the pandemic, and now they're getting back to action this weekend and again next weekend here at Lucas Oil Raceway. More than 100 cars on track for an open testing session here on Friday. For many of these teams and drivers, it's the first time really since the shutdown that they've had an opportunity for anything up to speed at all. There will also be an opportunity for fans to get a chance to check it out this weekend, and officials and teams alike are excited to get back to it.
To be able to have a 4-month hiatus and to be able to come back out here and do it this weekend, and you know, it's a little bit of natural, a little bit of normal back in your life. So, I mean, I'm thrilled about it, you know. And today to come out here and make some test runs, everything's right in the world all of a sudden again.
Coming back here and being in the car for the first time in 4 months, I am more in tune with what's happening because I've had so long to think about it. So I consider, you always look at the bright side of things. I feel like I'm a better race car driver coming out of this because I've been excited about it for so long and I've been thinking about it for so long.
Coming up tonight on the news at 6, we'll talk with some of the drivers about getting back in action as they look to continue their season and what they hope will be a very busy summer that starts right here this weekend. At Lucas Oil Raceway, Brad Brown, RTV6 Sports.
Thanks, Brad. And the racing starts both days at 10 a.m. The big Nitro cars will qualify Saturday and hold eliminations on Sunday. A limited number of tickets are available and online only. You have to buy those in advance. Fans will be required to wear face coverings at the track. Visit the NHRA's website for all of those details. Kevin, for those going out to the race, what can they expect throughout the weekend?
There'll be a chance of some rain, Amanda. I can hear that. I live in Avon in Hendricks County, and you can hear the cars from there. Amanda, I'm a meteorologist, right?
I sure hope so, Kevin.
I'm not a journalist, but I've got a scoop for you.
I'm listening.
And it's a scoop of ice cream.
That's my kind of scoop. I like it.
I know, and they had a drive-through this year for the American Dairy Association's Ice Cream Social. And nothing makes people social like ice cream. And they moved it to Victory Field. Typically, it's been on Monument Circle, but everybody has to find a way to make things work these days. And ice cream will motivate you. So hopefully it was a good day for everybody there. Okay, let's talk about our rain chances. Amanda mentioned Raceway Park. The chance of rain will go up later tomorrow afternoon, then scattered thunderstorms on Sunday. If you were missed by the rain last night and today, I know you're disappointed. There are a lot of us out there, me included, just waiting, watching, looking at radar, waiting for a downpour to reach my house. Not going to happen until maybe Saturday night or on Sunday. Notice Monday and Tuesday are dry. Then we'll focus on temperatures warming up. I show you the radar to build your confidence. If you have something going on this evening outside, breezy but dry and becoming more comfortable as the humidity drops. The clouds that time, it looked more like a fall day. Of course, it never felt like that, but just a low gray cloud cover through the afternoon hours behind the cold front that is bringing somewhat drier air, but definitely the wind shift. That's probably the most noticeable thing that's happened in the last 24 hours. That northwest wind has gusted to 35 miles per hour. Temperature in Bloomington, 87. 86 in Terre Haute, where you've got rain, cloud cover. Look at Fort Wayne at 76 degrees. They're kind of by themselves in the 70s. That northwest wind is taking over. It will continue to gust over 20 miles per hour tonight, and it will be comfortable during the day tomorrow. Temperatures are warmest tomorrow. Sunday, more cloud cover, more widespread showers and thunderstorms keeps our temperature at 82 degrees. If you have plans tomorrow, it becomes a bit shaky when we get to the evening hours as far as thunderstorms developing. The morning should be great. Afternoon hours, clouds increase. Evening hours, our chance for thunderstorms will increase. Temperatures still above average. We talk about cooling down, but we still make it into the upper 80s in many spots. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, dry, lots of sunshine. By 4, you begin to see the clouds increase, and by the time we get to 7, scattered showers and thunderstorms, north-south line from just about South Bend down to Bloomington. It's a broken line. That's been the kind of the broken record of our forecast. Not a solid area of rain, but with the rain tomorrow, there should be some heavier downpours and the potential for a few strong storms. This may expand to the east, but damaging wind would be the main threat from any of the strongest thunderstorms that move in. Sunday temperatures from the upper 70s. until we get to the low 80s across central and southern Indiana. 7 a.m. Sunday, there's some departing areas of rain, but we'll continue to spin up some more showers and thunderstorms across central Indiana. Temperatures next week, they'll start to take off, but I'd say Monday, most likely our most comfortable day of the week at 83. 7-day planner temperatures do warm back into the low 90s. We've kind of slowed the arrival of the heat and lowered the expectations a little bit, but 95 is still hot. The last time we made it to 95 was back in 2018, and that was the end of May, about May 28th, I think, of 2018. There are the temperatures. These overnight lows, by the way, will be as warm as the mid-70s. So a little uncomfortable at night and becoming more uncomfortable during the day. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Kevin. We appreciate it. Still ahead here at 5, Wimbledon is serving up a very generous move after this year's tournament was canceled. What's in store for hundreds of players?
Hiring Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Like many big events this year, Wimbledon was canceled due to coronavirus. But get this. The players will still be paid. The All England Club will pay out $12.5 million in prize money to 620 players. 256 players who would have competed in the main draw will each receive $31,000, while 224 players who would have competed in qualifying will each receive $15,600. Lower amounts will be paid to doubles, wheelchair, and quad wheelchair competitors. The decision to pay the players was made after consulting with the club's insurance provider.
Here in America, Major League Baseball is gearing up for opening day on July 23rd. Meanwhile, Japan's Professional Baseball League is now welcoming fans to its stadiums despite a surge in coronavirus cases. They opened their delayed season 3 weeks ago with no fans. Now up to 5,000 people are allowed, or 50% capacity, whichever is smaller. There is a long list of restrictions to keep people safe, including mask requirements, no loud voices, and no jumping up and down in excitement. Manual High School in Indianapolis is considering changing its more than 100-year-old nickname and mascot. The Reason Why, tonight at 6. And toilet paper is back, but now other items are disappearing from grocery store shelves. Some might make sense, but others may have you questioning why. We'll explain next at 5:30.
Dish spray. Spray, wipe, rinse.
This is RTV6 News at 5:30, working for you.
And now at 5:30, a decision regarding the future of a well-known natural landmark in Johnson County, the Leaning Tree, has raised safety concerns. Will it be spared? And the state Supreme Court is getting involved in a controversy in the town of Edgewood that all started with the reports of the use of a racist slur.